What's going on, YouTube? My name is Caleb Sells. I'm a full-time reseller. I mainly sell men's clothing on eBay and Poshmark. And today I'm going to be deep diving my own sales to show you guys easy profit items you may be leaving behind at the thrift store. What we're going to focus on today are items that sell for between $25 and $40. Now, for me, I feel like this is the sweet spot because you're making enough profit on those sales that it's very worth your time. And those items are going to be a lot easier to find than the $100 bangers. So if you watch all these, all of my what sold videos, we still will be doing the banger sales for the month of August and going over the numbers in another video. But today we're just going to jump straight into it. It's live. If you're here live, you can ask questions. We can talk about how to find these items. Any questions that you have regarding that, and in the replay, go ahead and leave me a comment saying replay down below and ask your questions down there or comments on what we're jumping into today. But let's go ahead and jump into my eBay sales. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. Like I said, these are going to be $25 plus shipping to $40-ish. We'll see how long it goes to get to that point. And these are going to be on eBay and Poshmark. So I have my Poshmark sales pulled up over here, and we'll scroll through those for the month of August. And just a little, I will jump into the items here quickly, but I just want to say these really are the items that can get you from point A to point B that are going to pay the bills. A lot of people call it bread and butter. I call it bread and butter. I'm paying $6 to $8 for these items, sometimes $10. And I'm selling them for $25 to $40 plus shipping, making my $15 to $20 profit per item. And, it only takes 5 sales of those a day to be $100 profit per day. That's very doable. Not that $100 is like a super livable wage for me, like somebody that's a full-time reseller, but say you do this part-time, $5 sales at $20 profit per day, you could make a lot of ground really quick as like a side hustle or part-time. So that's the goal of today's video. Derby City Flip, welcome in. Hi, Caleb. How can people have 2 eBay accounts? Is that legit? Honestly, I've never tried to set up more than 1 eBay account. I know that like if you were a married couple, you could have one under each social security number, or if you had one under your personal social security number and one under your business social security number or employee identification number. So it is possible to have 2 legally, but I don't really know because I only have 1. All right, jumping into the sales for $25, we have these BKE Jake Straight. I buy a ton of these from my main supplier, and I usually pay $10 to $12 for them. This one sold for a little bit less because there was some staining here on the leg, a little bit more than just the typical distress that I'd normally see, that you normally see on these jeans, which is kind of the look. Not sure why we're loading so slow right now. So hopefully that gets better. But I had a little bit of staining here. So they only sold for $25. I usually sell those for between $30 and $35. Sometimes I'll list them at $40 if they have a really good size or if the boot cut kind of flares out a little bit extra. I wouldn't really call this bread and butter. This was like leftover from a wholesale deal. Women's Dixon flannels, the women's don't sell for as much money. So just trying to liquidate the last little bit of those. I'm already in the profit very well on that buyout. So just trying to move those last units. Smuggle Bus, what's going on, man? Yes, you can. eBay, when it first started, recommend up to 5 back in the 90s. Wow. Nice little fun fact. I didn't know that. Also, we'll try to pay attention to these SKU numbers as well. So that way we can kind of see like if these items sell very fast. I guess one thing I should note is that if you can find items in the $25 to $40 range that sell really fast, then that is really going to be great for your business. If these items sell slow, then I would say that's just kind of eh. But if you can get these selling fast for $25 to $40, then you're really cooking with gas, I guess you'd say. Next up, we have some vintage LL Bean boots, women's size 11. Let's see if the price is still on the bottom of these. Okay, it was probably a 2.5. So I probably paid 25, half off. So I probably paid $9 for those. 25% off of $12.50. So $9 and 25, not huge profits, but hey, I remember those sold pretty quickly. We got a pair of diesel jeans. These ones sold for 24 bucks, way under what I normally sell these for. So I'm guessing why these sold for less. First of all, they hit my 35% off discount. So they stayed in my store long enough to be discounted. That's, another thing to help move your items faster. Run some sales, promote your listings. I promote at 5%. I know somebody's going to ask, so I'm just going to throw that out there right now. When the size measures and fits way different than the size, I think that does kind of hurt the value in a lot of cases. And these did have some distressing on the hems. That's not like good distress. It's kind of like, not good distress. So I think those things altogether is probably why these sold for a little bit less, but still, I usually pick those up for like $7.50. So $7.50 into 25, we're still cool there. Levi's 501s, size 33 by 27, still sold for 28 bucks. I'm going to guess that was a relatively quick sale. 11408. 501s, you can see the 501 right there. They're the ones with the button fly. This is the most iconic look, and black does sell a little bit faster and for a little bit more money. So even modern with a really bad size still got it for 28 bucks. So I try to pick up all 501s, if it's $8 or less in a good size. I am picky with the size on modern Levi's though. And right next to it, we have another pair of Levi's 501s, decent size in my opinion, 32 by 32. Sold for 28 bucks. So same deal with the ones right below it, only these ones were blue. So the black probably made up for the bad size on this one. And the blue one, that's kind of what I list them for and kind of what I sell them for. Lululemon sweatshirt, perfectly oversized crew. This one, I would have thought this would sell for more personally, but I look at the comps, and once I purchase something, unless I can return it, once I purchase something, I look at the comps and I list it for what I can sell it for in a reasonable amount of time, and I take reasonable offers. I do not care what I paid for it at that point, because it doesn't matter if I paid 20 bucks for that sweatshirt. If it only sells for 26, if I list it for 40 because I paid 20, I'm just never going to sell it, and I'm never going to get my $20 back that I made a bad buy on the first place. So that's one little tip. As we're deep diving, I'll try to throw out some tips here. Hopefully it's helpful. And if you're in the chat, we can talk about this stuff in real time or in the comment section. But disassociate what you paid for the item with what you're trying to sell it for, because you can only sell it for what it sells for. So romanticizing the value based on what you paid for it is never going to help you sell the item. That being said, I don't remember what I paid for this. Probably $7.50. That's a pretty common price point at my thrift stores for something like this, where if you watch my videos, you've heard me talk about this. They price really high, and then they have discounts to liquidate the inventory if it doesn't sell really high. So they probably would list that or mark that at 20 or maybe even 25. Then I'd wait for it to go half off and then 25% off of that. So let's say $9 max, 25% off of 12. Okay, some silver jeans, women's Suki boot cut. I'm pretty sure this is one of the only silver women's jeans that you are going to want to look for, or the Suki model. Once again, I don't know why the pictures are loading horribly. Plum in the house. What's going on, man? But 11642, that means these sold quickly for 25. So if I'm paying under 10 bucks and I can sell them really fast for 25, hey, I'm fine with that. Some silver jeans in men's. Now, men's silver jeans do sell better, in my opinion. Decent size of 34-32. Grayson, easy fit, straight leg. And the dark wash jeans and black jeans sell the best, in my opinion, of all the colors. So I'm not surprised those sold pretty quick. You can see the SKU on this one, 11975. So we're getting later in the SKU, which means it sold faster. We got a Roan button-up shirt. This sold in like a day for 30 bucks. I was on the fence picking this up. This is the brand. They make more like performance athletic-y material, think like Lululemon-esque. But this is obviously a different brand, but same type of vibe. This is a button-down shirt. So if you can find unique items within those brands, ones that aren't going to be made as abundantly. So obviously they're going to make millions of athletic shorts, not millions, but maybe millions. Tons of athletic shorts, tons of those performance t-shirts, blah, blah, blah. A button-up shirt, probably a little bit less available on eBay. I didn't look up the sell-through rate. But either way, sold really fast for $29.95. I remember paying $6 for that. We got some Vuori Banks shorts sold for $29. I would have thought these sold for more, but this is like their not the core short. I think those ones sell for a little bit better, KORE, but still sold extremely fast. You can see 12080. So these both sold like within a day or two of listing. Scent blocker jacket. This is something I got from my supplier. Probably not something I would go out of my way to pick up, just because I don't like to pick up jackets if I'm only going to sell them for $25 personally. Just because they're a little bit bulkier, a little bit more difficult to store, take a little bit more time to photograph and list. But, I try not to reject items from my supplier because I want to be a good buyer and keep that relationship going as smoothly as possible. And hey, I'm not going to complain about paying $8 and selling it for $28. You can see the SKU 11695. So a little bit longer than these, but still not that long. 10,000 midweight tech jacket. I bought a bunch of these retail or online arbitrage. This ended up not being that great of a flip, but I recently just sold another one once it wasn't on the sale, because this was so cheap because I had it on a markdown sale for $45. I think I paid $23 for this. So 10,000 is a good brand. I would have thought Nuitag's tech jacket would have done a little bit better, but you can see it's an old SKU. I'm just trying to liquidate the ones that didn't sell at full price right away when I first got those in. I sold a lot of them for like $75 last year. Just trying to get rid of the stragglers after making my money. Polo Ralph Lauren jeans. These have been selling pretty well for me. This one had some stains on it and was not like one of the modern ones that has the model name. If you can find one of the modern ones that has the model name, like Hampton Relax Straight, is that what it's called? Hampton Relax Straight, and the Varick Slim Straight, those do sell pretty well, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's a 1,200 SKU or 12,000 SKU, so it sold pretty quick. So once again, I'm just trying to get those quick sales in this price range. It's all about the speed, in my opinion. Honestly, with stains, getting $26 for Polo Ralph Lauren jeans, I'm thrilled with that. What's up, Big John? Keto Wears Passion of the Christ sneakers. I picked this up, this pair of shoes up on Whatnot for $1, I believe, or maybe $2. I found somebody that was liquidating a whole bunch of stuff, and there was nobody in the show buying other than me, so I was getting it for pennies. So I took a little gamble on this random thing. It took a while to sell, but I got $25 for it. So I guess I wouldn't really call that a learning thing. It's just kind of a random situation. Here we have a Carhartt jacket. This is a youth size XL. These can still be good in youth sizes. This sold in August, so they're going to probably do better here. October, November, December, January, a little bit of February. So Carhartt, it's the Carhartt time to shine. So if you see Carhartt, definitely be looking it up. Use the style code to look these things up. Let's go to this tag here. These slow pictures are killing me. Come on now. Just losing viewers while we're waiting for this. All right. Youth J158. So that's how I figured out it was the active jacket, which I already knew because I sold these a lot of times in men's as well. Madewell and MN Dye Studio got some double knee pants. I think I accepted a lower offer on these because this person bought two things. So these are probably worth a little bit more than 30. Double knee is a feature on any pants that's going to add value because it creates a lot of durability and strength in the jeans or pants. And it also is just a desirable look, to be honest. So it works for fashion and for function. So that combination usually means better selling items. So for $30, like I said, it was combined with one other item. So I don't remember what the other item was, but I took a lower offer because of that. fact. Closed jeans. I had never heard of this brand. Got this from my supplier. See if we can get that tag. I think these can be better, but I don't really know enough about it, to be honest. Made in Italy, denim, closed jeans. They sold for $30. I honestly don't know enough about that to say. Dickies Falkville Shacket. Really cool print on this. I picked this up at Marshall's for $10 during 2 yellow tag clearance events ago. So really old SKU. So very slow seller, unfortunately. Picked it up in the spring. So I had to wait all the way through spring, summer, and into fall to get that sale. But we did get the sale for $27. So it ended up being a decent flip, 10 into 27. Not making a ton of money, but hey, we're talking about the bread and butter. Vintage Y2K Chams, I don't know. I saw this, the flat pocket and the embroidered stitching and all that stuff, and I knew these were going to sell for at least something. I picked them up for $6, sold them for $28. Ash and Erie, this can be a pretty good brand. This is just a basic button-up shirt. This is what the tag looks like. Sorry, the photos are kind of glitchy right now. Can we try that again? Sold for $32, which was more than what I thought. There's a good picture of the tag. Blazers in this brand, some pants in this brand can also do pretty well. Picked it up for $6, sold it for $32. Very happy with that. Was a little bit of a slower seller, as you can see by the older SKU. Same thing with this LL Bean jacket. I sold it out of season. We sold this in August, so it is going to sell a little bit slower and for a little less money. But I do look for these fleece jackets that have the hood, because the hood makes it a little bit more desirable. And sold for $28. Scott says you don't do size then fit size anymore. It doesn't matter. It just depends on the situation. For vintage Levi's, I usually put the tag size and the fit size, because people that collect and wear vintage Levi's know that it very rarely ever measures the tag size. For other jeans and pants, if it's within 1 inch on waist or inseam, I list as the tagged size and then just put in the waist size and the inseam in the item specifics. If it's more than 1 inch, I list as the measured size. If I see an example of that, I will dive deeper into that, Scott. Some more Levi's 501s, nice dark wash, sold for $29. Ariat M4 relaxed mid-rise, sold for $30. Ariat is not the banger that it used to be, but still great bread and butter in my opinion. Like I said, these photos are driving me crazy. So if you want to see the photos of an item, let me know in the chat, because I would rather keep it moving, show you guys more items than just watch me loading pictures. Dark Sport hoodie. I had never heard of this brand, but I did see this crazy graphic, so I decided to look it up a little bit. It says Dark Sport right down here, so that's what I used to figure out what the brand was. Sold for $30. Don't really know too much about that brand, to be honest, but I just try to look things up when they look unique. I saw this graphic. It looked unique. It looked a little bit like higher quality, maybe like a band kind of thing is what it kind of looked like to me. It ended up not being a band thing, but ended up being good. Picked up this Patagonia t-shirt at Going Gone, which is Dick's warehouse store. Paid $10 for it for a brand new with tags. Capeline Patagonia t-shirt, sold it for $32. Nice little fast flip. Dark Sport Wolves is all over Vegas gym. Sunny Las Vegas in the house. What's going on, my guy? Okay. Good to know. Go, where am I at? Yeah. Go over there and go check out Sunny Las Vegas, another reselling YouTuber. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so it must be like an out west Vegas thing. Probably a bigger city, trendy gym kind of brand. We got the vintage Polo Ralph Lauren button-up shirt. These, there's a lot of nuance with these Polo Ralph Lauren button-up shirts. 5%, Scott. This one has the button down collar, which I do think actually kind of hurts the value just a little bit these days. And it doesn't have the name of the model here. So sometimes you'll see Blake or Madison or Blair. Those can kind of help the value. And if you have one with metal buttons, I've sold 2 of those recently, one for 59 and one for 79. So the metal buttons are adding value currently on those Polo Ralph Lauren denim shirts. But the Polo Ralph Lauren denim shirts is a great example. Polo Ralph Lauren is all over the thrift store. The denim shirts always sell great. So say your average thrift price is $8. I would always pick up a Ralph Lauren denim shirt for $8 every single time. Some are going to be great, like $79 sales. Some are going to be mediocre, like $33 sales. But hey, $8 into either one of those, I'm chill with that. Some more BKE jeans. We already talked about this. This sold for more that standard price of $30. 3230, okay size. Not good, not bad, in my opinion. Nike Zoom X Vaporfly. These sold for $30. They would have sold for way more if I took the time to OxyClean these and get these white. And they even had some staining there. I don't clean shoes, so if I can't sell it in the condition that it's in, I don't pick it up. So that's probably a better shoe, the Zoom X Vaporfly. If you see this really pointy thing on the back, that's a good indication it's a modern shoe from Nike, one of their modern running shoes, and they can sell really well. Carhartt Rugged Flex double front. So once again, this double knee style is what sold these for $30. If you found these without the double knee, they'd be worth about $15 to $20. So almost doubled the value from having that double knee. Sold for $30 and was a little bit of a slower seller. But once again, these are items that were listed in spring and summer. I would call this more of like a fall or winter item. Scent blocker pants. These were the pants that went with the jacket. I decided to list them separately just because the sizes didn't really match up. I think the jacket was a small and the pants were a large. Sold relatively quickly for $30. Camo pants, definitely something to look into, especially now with fall being here. It's going to be another decent seller for the next, 4 or 5 months. American Eagle Bolo, not actually, but these were some herringbone twill, military style with the patch pockets on the front, baggy pants with the wide leg opening. You can see it has a 10-inch leg opening. Not ultra wide, but I'd definitely call those baggy. Had the cool little button fly with a little hook and eye fastener there. Just a really cool retro design from American Eagle, and that was a style-based purchase. American Eagle is not a good brand to resell, but I knew that that style would sell well, and it did for $30. This is not $25, so we'll pass along from this one, but I did pay $3 for this vintage LL Bean Henley. And because it said made in USA, we got it sold for $21. So 3 into 21. Still a nice little flip there. Leroy says, I recently purchased some Ralph Lauren polo swimsuits while doing retail arbitrage. Would you list them now or wait till spring? I would list them now. So say people like in Florida, it's been so hot that they might not even go outside and swim in July and August, and maybe in the fall is a great time to swim in Florida. I don't know. I'm just making that up, but there's people in all climates across the globe year round. I would try to list it now. If it doesn't sell now, it's up to you. Do you want to liquidate and sell for a little bit cheaper price in the off season, or do you want to keep them listed high and wait for the next cycle to come through in spring and for them to sell if they don't sell right away at your projected price? Alaskan hard gear puffer jacket. Would have thought this would have sold for more. Only sold for $33, but once again, we are out of season. So it is what it is. You got to take the sales when you can get them. I'm trying to think. I might have picked that up in a haul with a bunch of other like good branded jackets. So I probably was in the profit on that haul and willing to take an offer to just move a jacket in August. Lag says hi. Hi, Lag. We got a Realtree camo scent blocker jacket. This one was new without tags, so that's why I was able to get 30 bucks for this, probably a little bit less if it was not in new condition, but you can see it's new without tags, got the stickers on the front. There's the Realtree tag, not a brand I'm really going out of my way for, but I think that was another one from my supplier. Here we have a Lululemon hoodie, Astral Borealis City Sweat tie-dye French Terry. We got the keywords on lock. Little pro tip. Okay, we'll do a little teaching moment here. I need that photo to load though if we're gonna do some teaching here. Lululemon, this is how you're gonna get the most money for your Lululemon, okay? You're gonna go to lulufanatics.com. Okay. You're gonna wait for this to load. You're gonna find M or W, men's or women's. M3CKLS. M3CKLS. You're going to go up into the search, M3CKLS. You're going to pull up the exact model name. That's where I got all those keywords. Astral Navy Blue Borealis French Terry City Sweat Pullover. Okay. What does that do? What does that do? Lululemon hoodie men's. We have 4,800 results and 2,700 sold. Okay, 4,827 sold. 4,800 listed, 27 sold. Are we right? Let's do City Sweat. Here we have 656 sold. Hopefully this doesn't make me look silly. 656 sold and 1,400 listed. Is that better? It might be slightly better. 4,600 listed, 27. It might be slightly better, but either way, you're getting it in front of the right person is my point. Maybe that wasn't a good example. You can roast me in the comments. Either way, we want to get an accurate listing, and that's how I was able to get an accurate listing. Little pro tip from the Lululemon stuff there. Really quick, I do want to take one quick minute and shout out the sponsor of today's video, GyroPack Poly Mailers. They've been my sponsor from day one of being a content creator. So use my code Caleb, all lowercase, to get 10% off your order, or click the link in the description down below. But they have very good customer service and make really nice poly bags. They have all the different sizes and options that you need. So definitely go check them out. All right, we got some Carhartt double knee pants, another staple in my store. We've already talked about that. Sold for 34 bucks because these were in crispy condition. We got a Carhartt flannel shirt. Oh, only sold for 19. I will get them next time. Thanks, Scott. Go Hustle in the house. What's going on, man? Some Patagonia boys pants. Okay, these are Patagonia double knees. Patagonia double knees. These are the stand-up model. You can tell by these back pockets when they have the little circle pocket. Petro, yes, it is a good tip on the Lulu. Even though the sell-through rate on that particular hoodie was not that much better than just Lululemon hoodies overall, that's how you're going to sell your Lululemon, by going and finding the exact model name, exact colorway, and getting in front of the right buyer. These little circle pockets here, that's the stand-up pants and shorts. If you find these vintage in Patagonia, they can be worth really good money. These are just a modern pair, but even the boys pair sold for 34 bucks. Banana Republic dark wash denim jeans, new with tags. One of my bread and butters in my store is new with tags mall brands in good sizes and good styles. So we have slim fit, dark wash jeans, a very classic look. Many people are looking for this. The retail price on this, it doesn't say here, was probably like $100 at Banana Republic, or 89 or 79 bucks. They get it here for 30 bucks. I only paid $7.50. Everybody wins. We got some South Pole baggy jeans. Actually, these are not even that baggy. How wide are they? This photo thing is driving me crazy. Oh, come on now. Dark wash is a good keyword. It is an item specific as well. So you're going to want to fill in that item specific, because if people are filtering by the filters on the side, they can filter by dark wash. And yes, dark wash, I would consider that a good keyword if the item is actually dark wash. Do not keyword spam incorrectly, because that hurts your listings. I've talked about that in other videos. If you want me to dive into that, let me know in the chat. Okay, so this was only 9.5 wide, so not super baggy on the South Pole. So they didn't sell for as much money. The red tab, that one's orangish yellow. If it's red tab, that's going to be your best, one of the better ones from South Pole, or if there's crazy embroideries on the back, obviously. Duluth pants, these ones were new tags. Probably could have held out for a little bit more. The retail price on Duluth stuff is, I guess I can't say high because I'm comparing it to all brands, so it's not that high. But let's see, what is the retail price? $90. So somebody got a great deal for $32 on those. Duluth Nua tags used to sell great for me. I would say it's kind of meh now, but there's still some really good styles within Duluth, especially jackets. Arborwear, this is a little sleeper brand. This little Arborwear brand, some pants can be great. These hoodies can be great. The jackets can be great. I did sell this out of season, so it only sold for $33. But in the fall and winter, those prices are gonna climb. Here we have some 517 Levi's. These ones were Nua tags. I found a listing on Facebook for a bunch of brand Nua tags, Levi's 517. Somebody bought out a denim store and had tons of Levi's. So I bought, I think, like 20 some pairs of 517s, all in different sizes. Most were dark wash, which was great. I sold a ton of these for $35 to $60, depending on size, condition, wash, things like that. And I'm way in the profit now. So I am just selling the last ones off for, $35 if I get a decent offer of $35. I paid $15-ish a piece on those. North Face jacket. This was actually a liner. You can see that little snap there means this is one that's meant to go inside of a waterproof shell. So those aren't going to sell for as much as the jackets that are meant to be just worn on their own. So I was still happy with getting $35 for that North Face puffer jacket. Technically just the liner of a jacket. So $35 is pretty good. This is a cool one. Very unique Polo Ralph Lauren shorts. I used the little QR code. Hey, we're going to do another one. We're going to do another one as long as the photo will load here. Oh, actually, I need my phone for that. How do you do a QR code on the computer? Can you do a QR code on the computer? I don't know. I've never done a QR code on the computer, only on my phone. Basically, you hold your phone camera up to this, and you click on the link it takes you to. It will authenticate your item and tell you the exact model name of the item. I should probably make another video about that when I can use my phone. I'm using it to record right now, so I can't. But basically, I did that. Got this, it authenticated the item and told me that these were the classic fit 6-inch Prepster Oxford shorts. And then I added in pastel stripe chino. And because of all of those keywords and all that extra information, I was able to sell some basic Polo Ralph Lauren shorts for $35. Acne Studios pants. I do not understand the Acne Studios sizing. Every time I get it, it kind of trips me out a little bit. But either way, this is a great brand to be on the lookout for. It can sell for tons of money. I wouldn't say all items are great, but this is the tag. I'll let it load up, and you can deep dive Acne Studios if you want. Scott says, do you think it's a good idea to take a screenshot of the model who's wearing it and put it as second photo, as long as it's not the first photo? I honestly would not waste your time doing that unless this is when I do it. I will do that if the photos that I'm taking don't do the item justice. So like, for example, Beard King Picker, what's going on with the crown? For example, I had these Todd Snyder selvage denim jackets, which I will be talking about in the August banger video because I sold some for banger prices. And when I took pictures of them on my photo table, they did not look amazing, but these were amazingly nice, high quality jackets. So I did use some of their stock photos for my listings because the photos just did not do it justice. Another time I'd use it is like, say you have like a flowy dress. A dress, in my opinion, rarely looks good just laid flat on a table. You kind of need it to be on a body or a person to get the idea of what it looks like, the length relative to a person. Maybe that's a good example. And once again, I like your idea of putting it as the second photo. Just a little bit of a cover your rear end mission, I guess, but effective nonetheless. We have some vintage 80s Levi's 560s, orange tab, not a good cut. 560, I would not call a good cut. You can see right here 560. I got these as 80s because do I have a picture of the back button? On the back button, the number 532 is stamped. So I know that's the factory code. So right next to that is the date. So this is the 8th month of, or the 80th week. Sorry. 80th week. No, there's only 52 weeks. 8th month. I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. Either way, this 7 is for 87 because it's red batwing. So that's from like late 80s to early 90s. Red batwing on the tag, made in USA. So because of that, I was able to get a nice sale. Just being able to know those extra little details. I don't know why my brain's blanking on that 807, but that's the date somehow. It means 87. Okay, here's my example, Scott. For Levi's, I put men's 34-34 because that was the tag size. But I put fit 32-35 because that's what they fit for Levi's. Sold those for $36. You can see right here that was a $39.95 listing that sold for a 10% off offer, which Nifty.ai automatically sends out my offers. I guess that's a good time to talk about them as well. Let's jump into some Poshmark items. How I cross-list my items from eBay to Poshmark is using Nifty.ai. Their software, in my opinion, it blows the other cross-listers out of the water, and their auto delist feature. So like if you make a sale on eBay, it will delist it on Poshmark and vice versa. Has never failed me, which I really appreciate because that was my problem with the other softwares that I was using, because I do run a pretty quick moving, high velocity store relative to how many items I have. So I sell items very fast. It was very difficult to keep up with which items had sold on which platforms. And they claim to auto delist my items when they sold, and it never worked. But with Nifty, it always works. So that I just can't say that enough. If you are going to cross list, you got to use Nifty.ai. If you want a free trial or a discount, use code CalebSells or the link down below. Another great thing is that they do all the Poshmark sharing and all that good stuff that I don't even know anything about because I don't understand Poshmark social media stuff. I just try to sell on there. And they also do some VA, virtual assistant tasks on my eBay store, like recreating my listings, automatically sending offers. Those are the main two things, but those make me a ton of sales. So as you can see right here, that Levi's sale sold on an automatic offer that they sent out for me. The buyer accepted it. I didn't do anything other than just get the sale, but they were able to help me convert that sale. So jumping into Poshmark, let's go through the $25 to $40-ish items here. We got this Polo Ralph Lauren beanie hat. I bought a bunch of these online arbitrage in the summer. They're just now starting to sell. I paid $9 a piece for a bunch of these in 2 different styles. 45. Oh, we're not doing 45. That'll be in the next video. Let's see. $26, a Harley Davidson women's ribbed shirt. Is Poshmark still suspending people? Yes, I believe they are. Let's see if I do this, if I go back, if it will keep my place. This is just a really nice graphic on the Harley Davidson women's shirt, that Y2K aesthetic. That's what got that thing sold. Nice, it keeps my place. Polo Ralph Lauren Soft Touch. This is a Pima Soft Touch polo. If you find these with the flesh pony, I still do pick these up if they're cheap, especially in bigger sizes like XL or bigger. Sold really fast for $25. I picked those up for about $6. Some more Ariat jeans. These ones sold for 36 bucks, so a little bit more than those other ones. Once again, Ariat jeans, not the banger that they used to be, but definitely still worth picking up at your typical thrift price. Another pair of silver jeans. These ones were men's. So once again, kind of following my theory that the men's do sell a little bit better than the women's. Some more Buckle BKE jeans. Cool shirt sold for 25 bucks. This one was really basic. I thought I'd kind of have a hard time selling this because the comps weren't that great on eBay. Sold really fast on Poshmark, so very grateful for that sale. We Norwegian sweater. I really don't know too much about this brand. I got this from my supplier. I looked it up. Comps were kind of all over the place, so I think I listed for 50 bucks. Got a $40 offer. It's a nice merino wool sweater and took the $40 offer. Poshmark seems to be quick with removing suspensions when I email them. Any experience? Yes, I've been suspended 4 or 5 times now, and when I email them, I am able to get my account back within about a day or two of the initial listing suspension. It's just kind of a headache and very annoying, but it is what it is, and at least we can get our accounts back, right? North Bay Deals, nifty question. Not sure if you have an answer. Says I went over 1,500 items, but I only have 950 on eBay. Cross-listing only 600 on Posh. Does it count items on Posh and eBay together? Says you went over 1,500 items, 950 on Posh, or 950 on eBay, cross-listing 650 on Posh. I'm not sure what you're asking. It says over 1,500 items. Is that part of their pricing policy? I haven't signed up in a long time. What do I get with my Bundle Plus? Is that like if you use too many listings, it charges you more? You have to elaborate on your question. Not all my items from eBay are on Posh, but yes, I only got 1,500 items. So to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have 1,000 items in my store. So sounds like it's similar to your situation. So maybe just on the initial import, it's counting each of those eBay listings as a listing on the import. I mean, obviously you could email their customer support and get a real answer. I'm just speculating, but maybe it's counting all those eBay's, all the imported ones from eBay like one time as you're importing. But then as you go on, you wouldn't be doing 1,500 per month as you're importing. I mean, unless you are, of course, but that would be my guess. So maybe for 1 month, you have to bump up. I do remember having to pay more in the beginning because I was getting caught up with all my cross-listing because I had 0 items cross-listed. So I had to cross-list, 1,200 items at the time. Here we have a Baseballism hoodie. I think this was new at Tags in the camo print. This brand, I really don't know too much about. I just saw it new at Tags, looked it up, had good comps, listed it for $45, took a $38 offer, paid 15 bucks for it. Just a nice little fast flip. We have a vintage Pendleton shirt jacket. When it has this little thing right here, I call this a shacket because you wouldn't put that on a shirt, in my opinion. So I call it a shirt jacket. Flannel shirt jacket, shacket, usually results in a little bit more money on the sale. $34 sale there. Okay, those are all my, we're still going. Got some new at Tags Levi's 513s. You guys know I like to pick up new at Tags Levi's. I usually list them for $39.95 on eBay, so it cross lists to $40 and got a full price sale. Usually pay 12 to 15 bucks on those. A lot of times I find them under 10 bucks as well. Really happy with that sale. Collars & Co. Polo. This has to be one of the best bread and butter brands there is. If you find these, the sell-through rate is so good. It sells so fast. It's a very, very basic piece. This is what the tag looks like. It's really, really simple, really easy to miss, very plain and boring a lot of times. They do have some with patterns on them, but basically it is a polo shirt with a hard dress shirt collar that doesn't get all wavy and warpy. They call it bacon collar. Doesn't look like bacon. They don't even feel good, to be honest. Yeah, they don't feel good. I don't really understand the hype, but they sell really fast. It sold for 29 bucks. I'm sure it sold in like a day. Oh, it lost my place. Where are we at? Okay, I got some 4XL Under Armour sweatpants. I picked them up because they were the big size. Ended up selling those. They were the Rival Fleece model. I would put the inseam on track pants, joggers, stuff like that. I usually put the inseam in the title because I think that people like to know that because it does vary a lot, brand to brand and style to style. We got a Nike hoodie full zip. You guys know I always say that full zip sells better than pullover or quarter zip. So I do try to pick up the full zip Nike hoodies and sell those as bread and butter prices. Ermenegildo Xenia t-shirt. I think I talked about this in my banger video because I found one that was new with tags and sold it for like 89 bucks or 69 bucks or something, and sold this other one that was used for 38 bucks. So designer t-shirts, something to look into for sure. Got the Polo Ralph Lauren full zip hoodie in a good size of 2XL. I honestly would have thought that would sell for closer to 45 bucks, but I probably accepted an offer of 37 to get things moving. Once again, these are August sales. So August sales, I'm selling a lot of jackets and sweaters because they sell for more money. So I have to still sell those to keep food on the table, but I'm going to have to sell them for a little bit less than in prime season, like October, November, December, but we're heading into that season. So a lot of those full price sales are going to be coming. Vintage Izod Lacoste sweater. That was from the 80s, sold for 35. Pool pants have been selling pretty well for me for that $25 to $35 price, depending on the style. Here we have another one of those Lululemon hoodies. This one was the Textured Tech, and that one sold for 45 bucks, which is what, $20 more than the other one. So that must be a better model of Lululemon hoodie. Once again, I do the same process on every Lululemon item. BKE jeans got a full price sale of 35 on those ones. 511 Tactical, the jeans. The pants, you got to look at the model because some models sell well, some models don't. There's different generations. The older generations don't really sell. The newer generations do sell. But the 511 Tactical jeans, in my opinion, have always sold very well for me. We got some vintage Levi's 505s. These had some stains on them from storage. Still got them sold for 30 bucks to probably a vintage Levi's collector. Could have sold for a lot more in perfect condition, but is what it is. Let's see. Any more bread and butter sales? We got the Polo Ralph Lauren linen shirt. If you feel the material, it feels a little bit different than every other shirt. Look into it. This one was linen. It sold in a day for $31. I probably listed that for 35 and it sold on an automatic 10% off offer. Carhartt hoodie, I picked it up because it was 4XL tall. Even though it had stains on it, I got it sold for 25 bucks because of the size. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. Why are things selling for more money than other things just like it? How can you find brands that you see all the time and find the items that sell well in the brands that you find all the time? That's kind of what today's video is about. Got some Birdwell beach breeches sold for 40 bucks. Birkenstock Giza. I don't know how to say that. Giza? I don't know. I use Google Lens to figure out the model name on that. I picked these up cheap. Honestly, a lot of the Birkenstocks and a lot of the Birkenstock models in used condition are not selling as well as they used to, but some of the Birkenstock models are selling better than they ever have. So you do have to be a little bit more aware of the models with Birkenstocks right now. Petro says some of the Carhartt sells better stained than non-stained. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe that helped me. I don't know. It wasn't like good stain. It was just like random oil stains. So Birdwell Beach Breeches is a beautiful brand. Yeah, they have some great selling shorts. And I think I sold like a merino wool hoodie cable knit sweater thing that was in the banger video last month for like 75 bucks or something. So they have some really good items as well. Vintage 90s Levi's. These were distressed, had the bronze tab, which is not a good desirable model. Got them sold for 26, probably because the size was not horrible. Just happy to move vintage Levi's that are not the right style and color. Here we have some new tags Levi's 501s. I do list those for more than 40 because the 501s are a little bit better. And better sellers, and they sold full price for 45. Really good size of 33, 32, in my opinion. Legends Luca shorts sold for 25 bucks. Those are a really nice bread and butter sale right now. They don't sell for tons of money, but they do sell fast. It's not legend, it's legends. Once we get back to eBay, we'll be pulling up some photos, but we're gonna cruise through these Poshmark ones really quick because it takes forever to load the photos on Poshmark as well. We got the UNRL, the Unreal hoodie, size 3XL, which I think made it sell a lot faster and for more money. Sold for 36. That's a good kind of like similar to Legends, honestly. It's like not quite Lululemon where it's like mainstream, but like in the workout, CrossFit, bodybuilding, gym world, these brands sell are gaining a lot of steam and are very well known in those communities. What do you call the discoloration on jeans like yellow on the knees? I just put distressed in the title and I don't really look into it, to be honest. Got some Wrangler Retro. Not just any Wranglers, but Wrangler Retro bootcut jeans. Those are a great bread and butter in my store. Sold for 25 bucks. Peter Millar pants, horrible size, 36-28. These were hemmed. I didn't realize it at the thrift store. Happy to get those sold for 25 bucks. Got a Lululemon long sleeve button up shirt, sold for 39 bucks. Lululemon sells better and for more money on Poshmark, in my opinion. My workflow is to list everything on eBay and then cross list to Poshmark. But if I was trying to maximize every dollar, I would probably list my Lululemon items on Poshmark first for higher prices, let them sit on there for a month. And then if they don't sell, cross list back to eBay. So if you have time to dilly dally, sorry, that's kind of negative. If you have time to, all I can think of are negative words. I'm just going to say it. If you have time to micromanage your listings, there are more ways to maximize your profit, like figuring out what platform your items sell better on and listing on those platforms first. For me, I'm all about speed and efficiency. So I don't do that. But Lululemon men's and women's definitely sells better on Poshmark. We got some vintage Birdwell beach breeches, size 26, not a good size, super short inseam. These were pretty cool. Sold for 38 bucks. Let's see, what's our next bread and butter? Abercrombie & Fitch baggy jeans, 31 bucks. You guys know baggy jeans are in style. I would say 10 inches across the leg opening is what I'm calling baggy these days. If it's 9 and has like a baggy brand, like a brand that could be Y2K, I will still probably put baggy in the title. Ariat FR jeans. The FR jeans do sell for a little bit more than the regular. Low rise M4 boot cut. That's one of the better styles you can get. Sold for 34 bucks. They were distressed. If I put distressed in the title, it's probably not a good distressed. So that's probably why they only sold for 34, maybe more like a $40 sale in perfect condition. And this Ivy Park hoodie, I've never found this brand. It just stuck out to me with the like sleeve lettering. Sold really fast for 31 bucks. So those are all the bread and butters on Poshmark. Going back to eBay, once again, if you're watching the replay and you're still here, put like your most relatable find that I've mentioned so far down in the comments. And if you're here live, make sure you ask your questions as we're going along. Keep hanging out. I don't know. How much longer do we have till we're at $40? I mean, we still got a ways before we're out of $40. So we'll keep throwing out these bread and butter items. You can find these in your thrift store. I find these in my thrift store all the time. A lot of these are brands that you find all the time, but it's the better items in these brands. So that's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out the patterns of where to find better items within the brands that we see all the time. Some Lululemon chino pants. These have kind of gone downhill. I mean, it's still a good pickup at a thrift price. I'm not going to complain about a $34 sale, but these used to sell for like 45, 50 bucks almost instantly. So definitely slowed down a bit. We got Levi's 501s in new conditions, or in new condition, only for 34 bucks. So definitely undersold those. Probably accepted an offer. 2022, the Weekend After Hours tour sweatshirt. Always look up band merch. Always. Even if the band you think they're nothing and nobody's, always look up the band merch. I've had so many good sales selling band merch. Always look it up. This is just 2022, not vintage, nothing too crazy. sold for 36 bucks. And it was the weekend. I don't know. Is he still like popular? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he is. He's like one of the biggest pop artists. Do you adjust your store discounts, markdowns, promotions seasonally? I consider seasonality when I'm doing my markdown sale, but really how I do markdowns is every other month. I just do like a massive markdown on my oldest inventory, regardless of what season it is. I probably will go through and like reprice some jackets and sweaters and stuff. I should do that. Like I could do that even today. I probably should add it to my list today because I do slowly mark down items. But obviously you're going to get more money in season. So I need to go make sure my jacket prices are not super low going into the season. Is it bad if I don't look through t-shirts? Sounds like a waste of time when t-shirts are like $6. I don't look through t-shirts at my thrift store. So it's not bad if you're finding enough items. And you have to be okay with knowing that you're going to miss a grail every once in a while because you never know. There can be a vintage band tee in there. You know, this is on a hoodie. This is on a hoodie. So I do look through the hoodies and long sleeves. But you got to be okay knowing that you might miss a grail every once in a while. But I don't look through the t-shirts because there's so few that are profitable. And you're right. If the thrift store basic price is $6, you kind of got to sell that for like, I'd be trying to sell that for, okay. The lowest I would want to be listing an item I spend $6 on is $20. And I would not be happy about that. I wouldn't be thrilled about that. Personally. That's just me personally. We got a Patagonia sweatshirt, nice crew neck with the fly fishing logo. You guys know on Patagonia, just like with Lululemon, just like with some of these other brands, I always go to the style code. The photos are going to take forever to load. It's going to drive me crazy. I always go to the style code and type it into Google, get the exact model name, and use that in my listing. Okay, STY, then the 5 digits after that is what you type in. So you type in Patagonia 39404. You can see in my recents, I'm pointing to the screen like you can see that. Let me use this. You can see my recents. This is what I do, and then it pulls up the listings right there. What did I say? 39404. Fly fishing midweight crew sweatshirt. Fly fish midweight crew neck sweatshirt. Those are the things that are going to get your items to rank in search. Somebody is on Patagonia Worn Wear right now, and they're like, oh, that's sick. Oh, they're out of stock. All right, I'm going to go to eBay and see if they have that. And they're going to type in Flying Fish Midweight Crew Sweatshirt. They're going to copy it. And they're going to type it into eBay. And mine's going to pop up first because I'm matching all those words in the title exactly. Sorry, if am I getting too passionate? I don't know. It's over $40. We can't talk about it. It's not bread and butter. I will say this video is inspired by somebody in my comments that said they never find good items at their thrift store, so these videos are unrelatable when I talk about just the bangers. So I have hundreds of sales that are just boring. Now, I want to show you guys the best items because I feel like those are what really push the sales over the edge. Like if I get one $100 sale in a day, that's going to make my day so much better, my sales day, my profit so much better. So I don't want you guys missing banger items, but these are the items that put the food on my table. On my table. Another pair of vintage 560s, not the best cut, but when I find them cheap enough, I list them if they're 90s made in USA. Another pair of those 527 Levi's, another 517 Levi's. Those are from that same buyout. We got a Polo Ralph Lauren t-shirt hoodie with the Kicker Polo Bear logo. That one had so many keywords. If this was like an actual sweatshirt or a rugby shirt with this logo, with this on the sleeve, we're talking maybe $150 to $200 shirt. These Polo Bear logos, especially the Kicker logo, they can go for serious money. So Please look up Polo Ralph Lauren items when they're unique, and please list them high. I have done it countless times. I list these unique Polo Ralph Lauren items high, and then I'll just randomly get a sale way over market value because collectors want what collectors want. If you have the only one, it's unique enough, you can get the sale at not whatever price, but basic, very, very simple, has the nice patch pockets on the front. Listed it for 40, got the offer for 35 and just accepted it. More Lululemon pants, 36 bucks. Once again, you can see I listed for $39.95, sold on a 10% off offer that Nifty sent out. Patagonia with flaws. Patagonia with flaws still sells, guys. It still sells. This had staining on it, had little rips on it. I think I used some gear tape to cover up some holes. Still sold for 40 bucks because these jackets are so expensive. And people like the function of these. Of course, you're going to get more in perfect condition, but the thrift store might put this out for $5 or $6 because of those stains, and you can take advantage of them lowering the price and picking those up. Same thing here. Stream froze or just me? Let me know if you can hear me. Somebody in the chat, give me a thumbs up or whatever if you guys can hear and see me. I'm still cruising on my end. Okay, another Patagonia. Never mind, it's back. Okay, another Patagonia with damage. This one had the lining peeling out on this. So we sell it for less than, it froze, but it's fixed. Okay, we sell it for less than market value, but we're still getting a decent sale. You could probably sell this for 60, 70 bucks in perfect condition. I'm selling it for 40, but I got this cheap because of those flaws and the damage. All right, we're going to start getting to over $40 sales here. So I'm just going to show two more. We got the Smart Wool base layer. I wouldn't really call this bread and butter. I mean, if you find Smart Wool, a lot of people are still posting that on Instagram like that's a grail. I mean, it's still an amazing brand, of course. Price have came down a bit, but obviously Smart Wool is going to be an automatic pickup if you find a wool item. Here's a cool item. Sold over 42 bucks, so technically a little bit more than what we're looking at here. But the profile picture is what sold this, in my opinion. That nice, got all the logos in there and everything. Just a vintage starter Notre Dame baseball jersey. Sold over 42 bucks. I can't remember what I paid for that, but I remember thinking, I'm going to list this one high because it just looked cool and looked unique to me. And that's another thing that I would really recommend. If you have something that's cool and unique, it's not going to hurt to list it a little bit high and see if anybody buys it. You can always lower the price. You can always run some discounts. So I'm going to be signing off here. So if you have any last minute questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. Where's the chat? Is it over here? Over here? Or is it down here? I don't know. Drop it in the chat right now. Going to answer any last final questions before hopping off here. That's a look into my eBay store. Once again, shout out to GyroPack and Nifty.ai. Those are just what I actually sell that keeps the food on the table for me and my family. I sell, I don't know how many items did we go over? Probably 100 in just 1 month. If all of those are, let's see, $15 profit, that's $1,500 profit from just those basic items. Of course, Scott, no problem. If you don't mind discussing, is your supplier an individual that thrifts for you, a wholesaler, or something else? So the main supplier that I talk about is just somebody that reached out to me on Instagram. That's one of the benefits of posting all this stuff online. And he wanted to switch from sourcing and listing himself to focusing on just sourcing as much as possible and wholesaling to people like me. And we have a good relationship because I personally think that I pay more than most people would for these basic items. Like, let's say 12 bucks for BKE jeans. I think most people would not really want to be paying that, but I don't mind because it's delivered straight to my door. And I've been, if you watch the channel, I've been focusing on growing a whatnot business. So saving that time, I'm basically paying a little bit more to save that time and have it delivered straight to my door. And a lot of times it's really good stuff. And honestly, a lot of like banger items that I find are items that I've got from my supplier and just paid a lot for. But once again, like if I pay $100 for something and sell it for $200, because I have that cash flow, um, I'm not really upset about making, even if it's 60 bucks on one sale. It still takes me the same amount of time. It's delivered to my door. It's just photographing and listing. It's, not any extra work. I made 60 bucks on one item and I'm as happy as a clam. And he, if he found that at the bins, he made, almost 100 bucks on it. If he was at the bins and traded somebody to get it, he might have $50 into it and made 50 bucks. I don't know. But that's the situation. So it's not somebody that I'm hiring to thrift for me. He has other people that he sources for. He knows what I like. He knows what his other buyers like. But there are people out there that just want to source and they don't want to list. I mean, if you go to the bins or if you go to the thrift stores, make sure you're introducing yourself to people that you run into at multiple places. I kept running into the same person at the thrift store for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, introduced myself, and we ended up becoming really great friends. And I met an amazing friend out of it, and our families have become friends. And we talk and have garage sailed together and all that good stuff. I met another friend at the thrift store. I would see him every single week, and he sells completely different things than I do. So every once in a while, he would just swing by my cart and throw 3 or 4 hangers, with clothing items on them on my cart, knowing that I sell that kind of stuff, like, bread and butter stuff. He only sourced what I would say like designer or banger items. So he didn't want to mess with $30 sales. Well, that's what my whole business is based on. So I would say it's just mainly building those connections when you're in front of those people. If you do post on social media, like that is going to increase your reach of who you're able to talk to. But I can't say that even just that one supplier connection is worth the 2 years of grinding, posting. For a while, I was posting 3 videos every single week and YouTube shorts and going live every single week. Now I'm doing, about 1 video a week to maintain, just as my life's gotten busier with 2 kids now. I can't say all that's worth one supplier that I spend, $300 to $500 a week with. So you do have to be in content creation for the right reasons, wanting to help people and being okay with investing that time in your community. So I wouldn't go into it with just that as your motive, but that is going to be a byproduct of putting yourself out there and helping other people. People are going to want to help you, and even people knowing your 2 kids is crazy. That's a lot of time. Yeah. Two small children. We have a 3-year-old daughter and a almost 7-month-old baby. So it's the grind right now. Your videos have been a huge help in my learning journey. I appreciate you. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. If you popped in today, or if you made it this far in the replay, make sure you say what's up in the comments. Hit that like button. I sure appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. We'll have a video coming out for the August, going over the numbers and the banger items. So you're going to want to be checking that out. And I'm hoping to get into some live sourcing videos again. My last sourcing video did really, really well. I used to do more live sourcing videos, and those videos always did great. To be honest, I feel like I'm just chatting with my pals now, so you guys are just hearing about my life. But I feel like now that I have a consistent supplier where I'm getting a decent amount of items every single week, and then I really only stick to my main thrift route where I don't really want to cause a scene and be filming and draw any more attention to myself than I already do by buying a ton of items and having 3 or 4 carts at one time. So I've been kind of trying to figure out how to. I'm 31, Scott. Am I 31 or 30? I just turned 31. Okay. 30, yeah, I'm 31. I guess after 30, you can't remember. But it is hard to make the sourcing videos because I don't really want to like make my sourcing life harder. And what I used to do was just film when I would like do my extra sourcing to like catch up from being behind on sourcing. But now that I have a supplier, I don't really do any extra sourcing, and I source a ton online for my whatnot business. So there's really not a lot of time that I'm just out thrifting relaxed, chill. I'm 30 and staying 30 forever. Hey, that's a good attitude. So that just a little glimpse into my life. Hopefully all my pals are still listening. We got 39 people in here. So hopefully we got like at least like 25 thumbs up out of 39 people. All right. I'm going to hop off here. Thank you so much for listening to my random babbling. I got to get back to work, and we'll talk soon. Peace.